So this weekend saw the first ever Football Manager Streamer Showdown. 8 of the best Football Manager Twitch streamers battled it out to see who would come out on top. My name is Dave from WSFM, and this is all the lowdown from the Streamer Showdown Season 1. So let's quickly talk about the format. There's 3 parts for this tournament, part 1 being the draft. All the players jumped into a fancy draft mode on Football Manager 2020 and had a £500 million budget to select their squads. The only rules really being that it had to be a 23-man squad and at least 3 goalkeepers. We'll talk about the players and their squads shortly. Part 2 would move on to the first matches of the tournament. It would be a league format where each team would play each other once, so of course 7 games would be played. The teams obviously would then be ranked depending on their points, and that would move us into Sunday's games, which is part 3 and the knockout tournament. So the league was seeded, so for argument's sake, top would play bottom, second would play one from bottom. You get the gist of it. Each of the knockout games were 2 legs, so we'd have a quarter-final, a semi-final, and then also a 2-legged final. So let's go and check out which streamers are taking part and have a look at their squads. So we kick off with Mr. Dr. Benji, and this is his squad he selected. Of course, feel free to pause, guys, at any point during the video to look at these squads more in depth. As you can see on the right hand side, his MVP, his most valuable player, was Luis Suarez, who he signed in for £70 million. But other key players, he's got Handanovic, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Milinkovic-Savic, and even a little sprinkle of Andy Carroll. Moving on to the self-proclaimed champ, CURTYFM'S squad. Well, you can see one of the more lower valued MVPs, £50 million he spent on Aymeric Laporte. Other players, I mean, can you pick key players out of that squad? You've got Timo Werner, Jadon Sancho, Vinicius Jr. He's got Speed Demon, Adama Traore. It's a good squad, Curty, but maybe for 3 or 4 years' time. FoxInTheBox went into this one as an early favourite. His most valuable player was Roberto Firmino on £73 million. Some intriguing choices in there, but he's got Umtiti, Lautaro Martinez and Nangolan. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Herb the Nerd went for a very Premier League orientated squad. MVP N'Golo Kante, great choice of £57 million. He's also got Kepa Arrizabalaga, Tammy Abraham in there, and Yuri Tillemans. Bruno Fernandes, Ødegaard, he's got a real mix of quality there. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the tournament. Lollujo went for one of the big guns. His MVP was Kylian Mbappe, £90 million. But look at that back line. He's got Van Dijk, Raphael Varane, even Rashford, Kai Havertz. A really, really solid team for Lollujo. UNARMINGPINE'S opted to go with Real Madrid's Eden Hazard as his MVP. A mix out with Erling Haaland, Thomas Partey, Ruben Neves, Donnarumma in goal. An intriguing squad. Second yellow card opted to go with his MVP as Sadio Mane for £83 million. Again, quite a lot of Premier League presence in this squad. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Kieran Tierney, Alexandre Lacazette. And the final squad is for the American, Zealand. MVP, £70 million with Robert Lewandowski. Also level with Antoine Griezmann. But he's also got a little bit of American presence with Zach Steffen in goal. But he's got Koulibaly, Weston McKennie. And I think he enters this as a little bit of a dark horse. Not a lot of us know much about Zealand. Before we move on to the matches, let's have a quick look at some of the stats from that draft. A predicted 11, you can see here on this graphic, the first 11 cost. Zealand would have the most expensive 11 at around 431 million. Whilst CURTYFM, by far the lowest, with just 291 million. And this moves us on to the WSFM prediction. This is what we predict the league table to finish like after day 1. We've got FoxInTheBox as our leader at the top of the league. And unfortunately, CURTYFM down in 8th. Zealand to finish runner-up with Dr. Benji in 3rd. Lollujo and Herb also to struggle with UNARMINGPINE and second yellow card in a mid-table finish. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. Match day 1 saw Dr. Benji take on CURTYFM. FoxInTheBox would host Herb the Nerd. Lollujo will be taking on Zealand and UNARMINGPINE to face off against second yellow card. CURTYFM couldn't have got off to a better start in this game. It was an early goal from Renan Lodi from the left-hand side, which gave him the lead against Dr. Benji. Belt on side, Curty looked absolutely delighted. But Dr. Benji would finally find his equaliser. Benjamin Mendy crossing it in for Leon Bailey to tap in at the back post. Benji level, but the score's finished at 1-1. FoxInTheBox hosted Herb the Nerd in their first game, and Foxy couldn't have got off to a worse start. Tammy Abraham scoring the opening goal just after the half-hour mark for Herb, before adding his second 10 minutes after half-time to give Herb a 2-goal lead. But a quick double from Roberto Firmino meant FoxInTheBox would grab a 2-2 draw against Herb, turning around a 2-goal deficit. And after match day 1, our results look like this. Of course, Benji and Curty grabbing a 1-1 draw. Fox in the Box coming from behind to get a 2-2 draw against Herb. Lollujo and Zealand getting a draw in the other game, with Serge Gnabry scoring a late equaliser and an Arming Pine and second yellow card kicking off with a goalless draw. As you can see, match day 1, every game a draw, all the teams still trying to suss each other out. Moving on to match day 2, and every team wanted to get their first win of the tournament. CURTYFM would host Fox in the Box. HERBTHENERD'S would take on an Arming Pine, second yellow card would take on Lollujo, and Zealand would host DoctorBenjy. And my goodness, were there goals this week. HERBTHENERD'S took an early lead with Tammy Abraham against Unarming Pine. Erling Haaland did get one back for Unarming Pine to give him a glimmer of hope, but HERBTHENERD'S then put him to the sword. Bruno Fernandes made it 3-1, Jeffrey Kondogbia got number 4, and then Tammy Abraham wrapped it up with a 5th goal to give HERBTHENERD'S a huge 5-1 victory. Zealand hosted Dr. Benjy, but it was Benji who got off to the best start. Luis Suarez scoring in the 9th minute to give Benji the lead. Zealand equalised just before half-time from the penalty spot. Robin Lewandowski made it 1-1. However, Luis Suarez, again, just before half-time, giving Benji a crucial lead. And Suarez grabbed his hat-trick and wrapped it up for Benji, making it 3-1. And Koulibaly in the end grabbing a consolation goal for Zealand to make it 3-2. So match day 2, much more goals. CURTYFM in the other game grabbed a huge 2-1 victory over Fox in the Box. Renan Lodi and Timo Werner scoring there. Second yellow card grabbed a 2-2 draw against Lollujo. Lacazette and Anderson scoring for second yellow card. Rafael Varane and Marcus Rashford scoring for Lollujo. And of course Herb grabbing a massive 5-1 victory. And Benji with Luis Suarez securing a 3-2 win over Zealand. Match day 3 would see Fox in the Box host Dr. Benjy, with Foxy still searching for his first win. Lollujo would host HERBTHENERD'S. Second yellow card would be battling it out against Zealand, and an Arming Pine will be taking on CURTYFM. The game between Pine and Curty was an absolute thriller. Curty took an early lead after just 1 minute with Timo Werner. Borrea made it 2-0 to Curty after 7 minutes, and Alvaro Morata surely put the game beyond any doubt in the 15th minute. However, Chiesa scored a goal in the 22nd minute for Pine to get him back into the game before Eden Hazard converted from the penalty spot to put Pine straight back in it. With Curty on the ropes, Erling Haaland scored just after half-time to complete the comeback for Pine, but Timo Werner put Curty back ahead to go 4-3 up. But the drama didn't stop there. Kasper Dolberg in the 67th minute secured a goal for Pine, and a red card for Curty in the 72nd minute meant he had to hold on for the last 15 minutes or so in the game. Lollujo took on HERBTHENERD'S, with Marcus Rashford giving Lollujo an early lead in the 15th minute. And Kylian Mbappe would score the only other goal of the game to make it 2-0 and give Lollujo a massive 3 points. So you can see the results from match 3. Foxy in the other game grabbing a massive 2-0 win and his first victory of the tournament against Dr. Benjy, with Raul Jimenez and Kevin Strootman scoring the goals. Of course, Lollujo beat HERBTHENERD'S 2-0. Second yellow card grabbed a narrow 1-0 victory against Zealand, who picked up a red card. Sadio Mane scoring the goal. And of course, we had arguably the best match of the tournament so far. Pine and Curty battling it out for a 4-4 draw. Match day 4 would see HERBTHENERD'S host Zealand. Zealand still looking for his first victory. Lollujo would play Dr. Benjy. Second yellow card would host CURTYFM, and an Arming Pine would be taking on Fox in the Box. And it was a 6-goal thriller in the first game, with HERBTHENERD'S hosting Zealand. Zealand desperate for that first victory, and he grabbed the first goal. Antoine Griezmann scoring in the 33rd minute. But Tammy Abraham continued his hot form to equalise, and Zealand's lead lasting only just 2 minutes. Timo Pukki did put Zealand ahead though just before half-time on the 41st minute, but again his lead was cut short just a minute after. Willian scoring in the 42nd minute to put Herb level. And Herb completed the comeback in the 76th minute to make it 3-2. But Zealand relied on his American counterpart, Weston McKennie, in the 87th minute to give him a late equaliser. Unarming Pine was yet to win going into this game against Fox in the Box, and it took until the 42nd minute for him to grab his first goal of the game, with Eden Hazard scoring. Hazard added his second just 10 minutes after half-time. Conti made it 3-0 to Pine in the 66th minute, and just 2 minutes after, Eden Hazard completed his hat-trick to make it 4-0. But Pine wasn't finished there. One of the hottest properties in world football at the moment, Erling Haaland, made it 5-0 in the 90th minute. And there we go with the results, guys, for match day 4. Herb the Nerd and Zealand sharing the spoils in a 3-3 draw. Dr. Benji, despite having 10 men for the last 15 minutes, held on to a 1-0 win over Lollujo, with Leon Bailey scoring again. Second yellow card beat CURTYFM 2-0 with Sadio Mane grabbing a brace. And there was confirmation of UNARMINGPINE'S massive 5-0 victory over Fox in the Box. So let's have a quick look at the table after match 4. Second yellow card at the moment ahead at the top of the table with 8 points and a +3 goal difference. Dr. Benji just in behind at second with 0 goal difference, but on 7 points. The opposite side of the table, Zealand still chasing his first victory. Fox in the Box down there as well, but it is still all to play for with 3 games to go. Match 5 would see the bottom 2 battle it out. Zealand and Fox in the Box taking each other on. Herb the Nerd would host second yellow card. Dr. Benji taking on UNARMINGPINE. And CURTYFM battling out against Lollujo. And it was Zealand who took the lead in the 71st minute against Fox in the Box. Both of these teams crucially needed a win, but it was Zealand who took the advantage. Robert Lewandowski made it 2-0 in the 79th minute for Zealand. And Antoine Griezmann put the game to bed in the 94th minute to give Zealand his first win, and it was huge. Herb the Nerd faced off against second yellow card, but it was second yellow card who took the lead. Nicholas Sula scoring in the 16th minute. Nathan Ake equalised for Herb just before half-time though in the 42nd minute. And Tammy Abraham gave Herb the lead in the 43rd minute. And Tammy Abraham put the game to bed for Herb in the 57th minute to give him another 3 points. In the other games, CURTYFM lost out to Lollujo, who's looking good at the moment. Jamie Vardy and Kai Havertz scoring those goals. And Dr. Benji relied on a Milinkovic-Savic penalty to grab a point against UNARMINGPINE. So we now move on to the penultimate games of the league. CURTYFM would face off against Herb the Nerd, his network partner. Dr. Benji would host second yellow card. Fox in the Box would take on Lollujo, and Zealand would take on UNARMINGPINE. Lollujo got off to a cracking start against Foxy. Fabinho scoring after just 3 minutes. And the Brazilian doubled his tally on the 9th minute to make it 2-0. Thomas Muller got Foxy back in the game, scoring in the 22nd minute. But Leon Goretzka made it 3-1 in the 36th minute. Right in half-time, Virgil van Dijk made it 4-1. And the Dutchman wrapped it up in the 64th minute, making it 5-1 and giving Lollujo an emphatic victory. Another barrel of goals came in the clash between Zealand and UNARMINGPINE. Robert Lewandowski getting the American off to a great start. Antoine Griezmann made it 2-0 in the 19th minute. An own goal by Zealand's goalkeeper put Pine back in the game after 28 minutes. And the comeback was complete for Pine, as Eden Hazard scored a 46th minute penalty. But it was a second half to remember for Zealand with 3 goals coming. Julian Brandt with the first of those, and Robert Lewandowski and Antoine Griezmann wrapping up the game for Zealand. And we'll have a quick look at the table after that penultimate game. So going into the final game of the league, Lollujo leads on goal difference. +7 for him, 11 points. 11 points to Herb the Nerd as well, who's one of the favourites to struggle with +6. And at the moment, CURTYFM's form has dropped. He's down on 5 points. And Fox in the Box with 4 points. Zealand pushing up to 5th after a couple of great results. The final game in the league would see Herb the Nerd face off against Dr. Benji. Lollujo would host UNARMINGPINE. Second yellow card would face off against Fox in the Box. And Zealand would host CURTYFM. There was some mouth-watering ties, but we'll start off with second yellow card. He faced off against struggling Fox in the Box and got off to a great start. Gerard Deulofeu scoring in the 15th minute. Sadio Mane got a quick brace. He scoring in the 31st minute and the 38th minute. Alexandre Lacazette scored just before half-time. Foxy did get himself a goal back. Roberto Firmino scoring in the 64th minute. But Boyata put it to bed for second yellow card, scoring in the 78th minute. Herb the Nerd knew he needed a big win if he wanted to finish top of the table, but he managed to grab his first goal in the 50th minute with Son Heung-min. He did score a second with Nathan Ake in the 90th minute, but then it all went a little bit weird. Tammy Abraham scoring twice in the 94th and 96th minute, Ødegaard scoring in the 95th minute, and Mark Noble scoring in the 97th minute to make it 6-0. Dr. Benji threw his game, so Herb the Nerd confirmed a 6-0 victory there. Lollujo did win, but of course his goals weren't enough to give him a top of the table finish. UNARMINGPINE losing 2-0 there with Moreno getting sent off. Second yellow card smashed Fox in the Box with a 5-1 win, and in the other game Zealand picking up a crucial 3 points in a 3-2 victory over Curty FM. So the table looks like this. Herb the Nerd, after that strange result, will finish top of the table. Lollujo missing out on top spot by 3 goals. Second yellow card would finish third, just 2 points behind the leaders. And Zealand, after a dreadful start, moves up to 4th place. Dr. Benji will finish in 5th, UNARMINGPINE'S in 6th. And a bad finish for Curty FM and FoxInTheBox would leave them in 7th and 8th. We'll have a quick look as well at the player stats after 7 games. And Tammy Abraham is the top goal scorer with 10 goals. What a pick he was for Herb the Nerd. Ben Chilwell has got the most assists for Lollujo. And highest average rating was Tammy Abraham with a very impressive 8.37 after 7 games. So with the league finishing like that, we knew who was going to be playing each other on the Sunday. The quarterfinal would look like this. Curty FM would be playing up against second place Lollujo. Top of the league, Herb the Nerd would take on bottom of the league, FoxInTheBox. Dr. Benji would battle it out against Zealand, and UNARMINGPINE would take on second yellow card. The first leg would see UNARMINGPINE take a healthy lead into leg 2. Ruben Neves got him off to a great start in the first leg. Eden Hazard converted from the penalty spot to make it 2-0. And by 34 minutes, Erling Haaland had made it 3-0 to Pine. Second yellow card did get himself a goal with Sadio Mane in the second half, just to give him that glimmer of hope going into the second leg. It was a 6-goal thriller between Curty FM and Lollujo in leg 1, Rafael Varane scoring an early 3rd minute goal. Marcus Rashford doubled Lollujo's lead in the 38th minute. Jadon Sancho did get one back for Curty though to make it 2-1, but Rashford made it 3-1. A dreadful own goal by Kurt Zuma. Curty was devastated with this one, made it 4-1 to Lollujo. And Renan Lodi scored in the 92nd minute to give Curty that glimmer of hope. So the games after the first leg of the quarterfinal looked like this. Curty, of course, losing 4-2 to Lollujo. Benji took a crucial 1-goal lead into the second leg. Luis Suarez scoring a penalty against Zealand. FoxInTheBox was 2-1 down against leader Herb the Nerd. And UNARMINGPINE got that crucial 3-1 win over second yellow card. So the second legs provided some entertainment. It was Herb the Nerd who took a narrow lead into the second leg against FoxInTheBox, and he couldn't have got off to a better start. Tammy Abraham continuing his strong form to give Herb the lead. However, an own goal by Kepa got Foxy back into the tie. Raul Jimenez gave Foxy the lead, and Jimenez grabbed his second of the game to put the tie level. Raja Nainggolan scored in the 79th minute for Foxy. Callum Wilson would score in the 83rd minute to put the tie back level and take it possibly to extra time. But Raul Jimenez scored in the 92nd minute to give Foxy a dramatic victory. Zealand would have to come from behind if he wanted to reach the semi-final, and he got off to a great start against Dr. Benji. Julian Brandt scoring in the 4th minute of the game, but Milinkovic-Savic scoring in the 20th minute to give Benji the lead, and João Felix wrapped it up to send Benji into the semi-final. So this is what the quarterfinals look like in the end. Herb the Nerd, who despite winning the league, crashes out to bottom of the league, FoxInTheBox, after a tremendous comeback. What a game that was. Lollujo got another 4-2 victory over Curty FM, and Curty crashes out, finishing 8-4 on aggregate. Jamie Vardy featuring with a hat-trick. Pine smashed second yellow card in the second leg with a 4-0 victory. Haaland, Party and a Ruben Neves late brace made it 7-1 on aggregate. And Dr. Benji's 2-1 win sent him through to the semi-final with a 3-1 win on aggregate. So the semi-finals would see FoxInTheBox take on Lollujo and UNARMINGPINE take on Dr. Benji. Pine took a lead against Benji, and it was a crucial goal. Erling Haaland in the 17th minute to give Pine a crucial 1-goal lead going into the second leg. And in the other tie, it was Marcus Rashford who got Lollujo off to the best possible start. But another late goal from Raul Jimenez got Foxy back in the tie. So, confirmation of those results. Going into the second leg of the semi-final, FoxInTheBox and Lollujo drawing 1 goal each, and UNARMINGPINE having a narrow lead against Benji. The second leg would see plenty of goals. Milinkovic-Savic got Benji off to a great start to get him back level in the tie against UNARMINGPINE. David Brooks scoring in the 34th minute gave Benji the lead, and Milinkovic-Savic wrapped it up in the 55th minute, and it finished Dr. Benji 3-0 on the day, 3-1 on aggregate. Lollujo smashed FoxInTheBox to reach the final. Marcus Rashford scoring in the 5th minute. Kylian Mbappe grabbed another goal in the 20th minute. Milinkovic gave Foxy a glimmer of hope in the 44th minute. Mbappe scored right at half-time to make it Lollujo 3-1. And Virgil van Dijk and Fabinho wrapping it up for Lollujo to give him a massive 5-1 victory and 6-2 on aggregate. And there's the confirmation of those results. as we move into the final, guys. So the final is going to be Dr. Benji versus Lollujo. Lollujo finishing second in the league and of course missing out on top spot due to Dr. Benji allowing Herb to win 6-0. It's going to be a two-legged final and both sides playing some fantastic football. Benji picking up his form a little bit in the second legs, but Lollujo has been very, very consistent throughout. Let's see who comes out on top. Leg 1 would see an early own goal by Benji's Trent Alexander-Arnold to give Lollujo the lead in the final. But it was Ben Yedder who equalised to make it 1-1 in the tie with a 46th minute goal. So that was all for leg 1, poised as we go into leg 2. And it was a struggle to separate these two again. Rafael Varane scoring in the 20th minute to give Lollujo the lead. But Nacho with a beautiful goal for Benji to make it 1-1 and 2-2 on aggregate. And with nothing to separate the two, the tie went to a penalty shootout. Lollujo couldn't have got off to a worse start with Jamie Vardy's penalty being saved by Handanovic. Benji took the lead with João Felix. Lollujo got back into the game with Fabinho. Before Luis Suarez having his penalty saved by David De Gea. Lollujo back level. He went ahead with Kylian Mbappe scoring a penalty before Memphis Depay missed for Benji. Ross Barkley extended Lollujo's lead. And Frankie de Jong scored to keep Dr. Benji in the game. And it all came down for Ben Chilwell for Lollujo. If he scored, Lollujo had won Season 1 of the Streamer Showdown. And he made no mistake. It finished 4-2 on penalties, but nothing could separate the teams. Lollujo takes the bragging rights for Season 1 of the Streamer Showdown.
Well, that went all right in the end, didn't it? A victory for the community, a victory for crowdsourcing, a victory for quick pick and preset tactics and proof that you don't need to do all that little clicky in the background that all you lot like to do and tweaking your tactics. Just pick a tactic that works. Get your viewers to pick the best players and make sure you've got Virgil van Dijk for corners. That's pretty much the key to success from what I can see. Thanks for the support from everybody. It has been awesome. It was lots of fun. Hopefully we can do it again very, very soon. And yeah, obviously don't ever expect me to win again. I think we can all agree something of a fluke. But a fluke I am going to milk for all it's worth for as long as I can.
To have a final look at the player stats at the end of the tournament, Tammy Abraham finished as top goal scorer with a massive 11 goals from 9 games. Ben Chilwell claimed the most assists, 8 assists, 3 more than any other player in 12 appearances. And again, the best average rating went to Tammy Abraham, who held on to an 8.2 average rating. And let's have a quick look at the team of the tournament that we've also put together here at WSFM. So we've picked Handanovic as our goalkeeper, a back four of Hakimi, Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip and Renan Lodi. A midfield three of Fabinho, Milinkovic-Savic and Bruno Fernandes. And a front three of Eden Hazard, Marcus Rashford and Tammy Abraham. Before we finish though, let's have a quick look at what Football Manager predicted the final table to look like. As you can see, FM did predict the top two to be Lollujo and Benji, with Curty towards the bottom. And Herb the Nerd down in 7th, so we did pretty well. But please let us know, guys, what your thoughts were on the first ever Streamer Showdown. It was really, really fun to watch, and I believe it was a good success. But if you think there's anything that the streamers could do to improve the experience for you guys, let us know in the comment section down below. My name's been Dave, this is WeStreamFM, and until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.